Have you ever wondered what it's like to survive at the highest altitudes, with sheer cliffs as your playground and the winds howling like ghosts of the past? Meet the Markhor, a wild goat that's not just built for the mountains, but for a story that stretches back through time, evolution, and human influence. This is the Markhor, one of the most elusive creatures in the world. But how did a creature so striking, so perfectly adapted to its harsh environment, become what it is today? And what role have we humans played in its survival? Or perhaps its struggle? To understand the Markhor, we need to travel back in time. The Markhor's story begins in the rugged mountains of Central Asia. Over 2 million years ago, these tough goats evolved to thrive in some of the world's most unforgiving terrains, from the rocky hills of Afghanistan to the high peaks of Pakistan and India, with their long, spiraled horns, a characteristic that's as much a defense as it is a sign of dominance. The Markhor is perfectly adapted to life at high altitudes. Their hooves, sturdy and shaped for climbing, allow them to navigate narrow, rocky paths that most other creatures couldn't even dream of crossing. And their dense coat, it shields them from the freezing temperatures that can drop well below freezing. They're not just survivors, they're architectural marvels of evolution. But the question is, how did they survive for so long in this isolated world? And what impact have humans had on this wild beauty? Markhor and humans have shared this rocky landscape for thousands of years. But let's be real, it hasn't always been a peaceful coexistence. Historically, humans hunted the Markhor for their meat, hides, and especially their remarkable horns. In fact, by the 19th century, these majestic creatures were at the brink of extinction in many parts of their range due to overhunting. Their horns, spiraled and awe-inspiring, were prized not only for their beauty, but for their symbolic significance in many cultures. But there's good news. Because of extensive conservation efforts in the late 20th century, populations of Markhor have started to recover. Wildlife reserves and protected areas, along with strict hunting regulations, have helped reverse the damage. However, their relationship with humanity is far from one-sided. We've not only shaped their past, but are now influencing their future. As much as conservation efforts have helped Markhor face modern challenges that weren't a part of their ancient struggle. Let's start with habitat loss. Deforestation, agriculture, and human development continue to destroy their habitats, pushing these wild goats further into the mountains. In some places, their homes are becoming more fragmented, creating isolated populations that are less genetically diverse, which spells trouble for their long-term survival. And there's another challenge: climate change. With shifting weather patterns and rising temperatures, these mountain ecosystems are changing. For a creature that thrives in cold, isolated areas, warmer climates and unpredictable weather are a big problem. But it's not just environmental threats. Poaching remains a significant issue in some regions. Despite efforts to curb illegal hunting, Markhor are still hunted for their horns, which remain highly coveted in certain markets. So, what does the story of the Markhor tell us about our relationship with the world's wildlife? For centuries, we've hunted, exploited, and reshaped these creatures' lives. And yet, when we step back, we realize that we're not just the destroyers, we can also be the protectors. The recovery of the Markhor shows us something crucial. It's never too late to make a difference. When we care, when we act, change is possible. But it also serves as a reminder. The animals we often take for granted are tied to the health of the ecosystems we all rely on. Their struggle is a reflection of the world we're shaping for future generations. Perhaps the real question we should be asking is, are we going to let the Markhor and others like it fade into history? Or will we take the steps needed to ensure their survival for the sake of the planet and for ourselves? Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think? How can we balance human progress with the protection of the wild creatures we share this planet with? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start a conversation. If you want to see more videos that explore the fascinating connections between humanity and wildlife, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Together, we can help protect the wild, one story at a time.